Hey there and welcome to the third video for today. So in this third video, we're going to run through the Supreme Arena Brief Guide, and I'll run through how to analyze your battle history to understand what you are doing wrong with regards to the game mode, and also talk about what are the different teams you can form if you have limited resources as a free-to-play player, light spender or even a mid spender in the game, because you might not have the most meta units invested, neither will you have a lot of unit invested for the 3 full teams on your defense. And I'll talk about some tips and tricks with regards to the things that I do for my defenses or even offenses to let you guys know how to play Supreme Arena a little bit better. So for Supreme Arena, right, first of all, I'll be basing this guide off my free-to-play PTR account. So my main account is right here in rank 13 in my district. So I think we are in the earlier district because we are district 1 obviously, so PTR 1 all the way to PTR 6, and overall I think this district is still quite active. I usually hover around the top 5 all the way to the top 20 range. So in terms of the reward side of things, to be really honest, top 20 is probably the best rank that you will hope for, because you will get all the good stuff, right? And top 5 is obviously more for the ego side of things, because you'll be getting more of the supreme points rewards, which will unlock the frames a lot earlier. So this is for people who are, I'll say, like the heavy spenders, where they have a lot of units, they have the most meta units, and they probably have the most stats based on the quality of your units. So if you're somebody who is, I'll say, like free to play mid spender, I think aiming for top 100, aiming for top 50 would be something that you hope to achieve with whatever, I'll say, like spending you have in the game. Obviously, if you're in a more relaxed server, even as a free to play player, there's definitely a chance for you to squeeze into the top 200, top 100, depending on how competitive your server is. So that's for the Supreme Arena rank. So personally, I think first of all, setting a target based on your daily ranking is important, because knowing where you stand as a player with whatever resources you have is important to gauge how far you can go in terms of your ranking. Because one thing that I don't really like about Supreme Arena is the rank switching mechanic. So let's say right now I'm ranked 264, and if I beat this guy at rank 163, I will be able to switch position with this guy. Then what happens is that I'll be getting the rank 163 ranking rewards, and that guy who swapped position with me will get the rank 264 ranking. So I think it's a little bit more exciting at the lower ranks, because the rank switching gap is very big. Once you're somewhere in the top 20, where my main account is at right now, you stay at top 20 pretty consistently, because most of the time these people are the people who have a really stacked up account and they have a lot of units developed, so they're able to play around with all the optimal comps and then test different comps out to let people counter them from that perspective. So I'll say for most free to play light spender, mid spender, I think setting a good ranking based on your server standing, your district standing, is a good start to determine how far you can go in this game mode. So that's for the precursor. Next, let's go to the how to analyze your battle history. So I'm not going to talk about the details for Supreme Arena, because you guys can read it on the details page yourself. Basically, every day you're given 3 free tickets to attack somebody, and other people also have 3 tickets to attack you as well, right? At the same time, you can buy up to 7 additional tickets with gems, but like I mentioned earlier, this guide is catered to the free-to-play light spender as well as mid spender, which usually I don't encourage you guys to buy too many tickets, because the first ticket costs 20 gems, the second ticket costs 50 gems, and if you continuously buy a lot of tickets just to play this game mode, right, your gem resources will run out really quickly. So I don't recommend that, but I'm gonna probably buy 1 ticket later for me to optimize my ranking, but I'll showcase with the 2 tickets I have how I attack people and how I choose my target later on. So for the defensive side of things, right, first of all, you need to know why you're losing. You need to know what's the issue with your teams, right? Is it because of strategy? Is it because you're outstatted? Is it because the guy has better unit quality? Or is it because the guy has a counter strategy to whatever defensive comms you're running? So how do you analyze it? If I take a look at this defeat over here, first of all, one thing you need to know, level advantage is something that's really difficult to overcome. So let's say you and another player have the same unit quality. If the guy has maybe 10 levels on you, the guy's going to win you most of the time, right? Due to proficiency difference, due to their units having more stats and their units hitting harder or tanking better compared to you. So if you take a look at my levels, right, you just click on a unit, 190, 190, 190 and then 190. So on average, when this guy battled me, my account was at this level 190 resonance level range, whereas this guy over here is at 206. So that's a 16 level difference, and that's where this guy probably won more on the stats compartment than the strategy compartment. Not saying that his strategy was bad, because I do see some strategic planning in terms of the offensive teams, but more so this guy is having more stats than me, so he was able to beat me just off the initial, I'll say, like reference to the stats of the units. So 206 as well. So this guy's average resonance level was level 206 compared to my 190. So obviously I already lost out in terms of stats. So I could definitely win if he fielded a much more lousier offensive teams, but I think his teams as a whole has some sort of synergy as well as grading to the units. So obviously having the level advantage allows him to win the fight. So next one, if we take a look at this, for example, right? So this guy over here, I'm at 190. This guy over here is at level 200. So that's a 2 level difference, but this guy still lost to me. So here, that's where you analyze. Is it because his offense was, I'll say, not so good against me, or whether or not he just fielded like the wrong units against the wrong team, for example. So that's how you analyze. Okay, I'm running a control team, this guy is running some sort of a control assassin team. So in this map, is it the best setup? Maybe, maybe not. So that's why, okay, this is why he probably lost, because I have the better comp, right? I have better unit quality because I have 3 stars. So even though I was low level and his strategy wasn't very good, so that's why he lost. So if we take a look at this, okay, he's running like a Mauler Graveborn with Lucius tank. So a little bit weird because there's no factional bonus, and yeah, like his unit quality is obviously not as good as mine. So obviously that's where he lost in terms of the strategizing portion. So understanding whether or not you lose due to a strategy or due to being outsetted is really important, because honestly speaking, if somebody comes at you with a full Paragon 4 team while we are only at Supreme Plus, there's actually a very low chance for you to win, because Paragon 4 is the highest tier and those units will have the higher stats. So this is how you use your battle history to optimize your defense records, because you want to know, is it because of a strategic problem, or is it because you got outstatted, or is it because the guy built a counter team to your team strategy. So that's for the history page analysis portion, right? I'm just gonna do one more to show you guys why I can actually win some of my defense. So if you click on this one, this guy over here, he's level 200, I'm 190, but because if you look at his unit quality, right, generally it's not even Supreme Plus, and he's only like at Legend Plus, so I probably have the better unit quality for this match. And if you take a look at this one, I would say also unit quality, because if you take a look at his units itself, it's quite low tier, unfortunately. And then for the third match, why do I lose there? He has, I'll say, better unit quality for this team, and he has a more, I'll say, like convincing team against me, because he ran a full Graveborn team, probably backed by Cecia. So here, maybe you can take a look at the replay to see, okay, is it because he's using unique strat? So he's using Stormcaller, okay, I'm using Light Heal. So if you take a look at this, okay, his team right here is doing the whole damage dealing a lot faster compared to me, because he has a Viperion which slows down my side skill casting. Overall, my Merrily is still doing pretty well, but unfortunately, I think my faction is also countered by him, because he's running a Graveborn team, whereas I'm running a Light Bearer main team from the team setup itself. So you guys can see, okay, this is probably why I lost, and yeah, he probably has the better strategy against me in this setting. Right, in the other team, I'm not going to showcase the battle, because from the looks of just the battle page itself, I can tell that the guy probably lost because he has a lousier unit quality, not because I had a better strategy. But for this one, this is a good case where I think in terms of the unit quality itself, we are quite similar. Obviously, he is a little bit worse than mine, but because he had the counter element, he was able to win. But if you take a look at this one, very lousy unit quality. If you take a look at this one, I'll say there's a decent team structure there, but the unit quality is way too low. So obviously he's not winning there, even though he has a 10 level advantage over me. So that's it for the analysis. Let us move on to the next part of the video. Next, we will talk about how to determine who to pick as your opponent. So usually a good gauge is obviously through the overall power level of the units. So right here, right, you have this power number over here. So for me, my defensive power is 137 million. Right, so this is a good gauge of how strong you actually is compared to your enemy, because your defensive power is usually going to be your best units. So if your best unit is of a certain number and it's a lot lower compared to whoever you're fighting, then obviously you have a lesser chance to win, because the guy is going to be stronger, either because he has a higher level or he has better unit qualities compared to you. So that's one thing you want to consider when you attack somebody. So you have the chance to refresh 5 times, but based on what I have right here, you guys can see this guy is 95 million plus question mark, this guy is 104 million plus question mark, and the rank 186 guy is 103 million plus question mark. So I'll say they are all pretty attackable based on my defense power. So I'm just going to choose the strongest guy over here. So this guy, the reason why there's a question mark is because there's actually this question mark region in the very first map, which I'll talk about in the defensive side of things based on whatever I have later on. But these 2 units probably doesn't make him a lot more powerful. So his actual power level should probably be 120 million. So I definitely have a stronger power advantage, so that's why I'm going to attack this guy. So if you take a look at his team, right, we got to go into challenge to see his teams. So there's actually 2 units hidden over here. He has the light bearer over here, iron over here as well, and then he has the Wilder carries with, Wilder support with Mauler carry and barrel to complete the fractional bonus. And one thing about Supreme Arena is if this guy is already running 1 unit in one team, in team 2 and team 3, there's no way you can run it on the team 1. So over here we can omit Seth, we can omit OD, we can omit the supports Hewin, we can omit Barrel, we can also omit Vala, Cassidy, Lucius, Iron, as well as Smokey. So I think based on what he has and based on my knowledge about the game, I think the last 2 units should probably be like either a Graveborn carry. I think Cecile or Carolina sounds like a good fit because there's a Rowan there. So Rowan Cecile is a good combo, and his goal is probably to stall as long as possible for Cecile to do her stuff, right, based on the initial analysis. So I'm gonna probably rush him down before he does his stuff. So based on his units, right, to be honest, his last team is very weak to Wilders, so I'm gonna fill my Wilders team over here. And then the second team over here, I'm running a full control team with the Wilder team setup with Elsa as the secondary carry, because Elsa fits into the control team really well. And I'm running the quick blade spell for additional stuns and control to fulfill the morale boost. And then for the first team, okay, I'm gonna run this team setup which I run a lot right now, which is the light bearer setup supported by Wilder's carry and healer. So here we have Lucius, which is really good if you survive for quite long, which is quite achievable with Hewin support as well as Rowan support. Then for the artifact of choice, right, I'm thinking either between Stormcaller. I think Stormcaller is pretty good for AoE damage and pretty good stats. And then I'm gonna try to rush this guy down with Merrily as well as Brian over here, because Brian's quite good against Torrent, and then Merrily is quite good against Antandra. So if I survive long enough for me to build up my damage, I should be able to rush him down. So that's one thing which I think I might be able to win on. So next one, control team, I think it's pretty stacked up. Not going to change this team setup. I'm going to let Vala target the Iron, because Iron is there for the ultimate, so the damage comes from Arden as well as Elsa. So third team, we're going to run the Mauler. So for this one, I kind of want to protect my OD, so I'm going to keep OD safe in the back line. I'm going to put all my units together to sort of protect myself against Barrel. Okay, so I think this is okay. I think this should be fine. This one, yeah, I'm gonna give the enlightening spell buff to OD, because Aldia Rise over here is actually control immune with the second skill, can actually remove control effect. So I don't think he needs the enlightening spell buff. So with that, right, I'm gonna attack the guy, and then we're gonna do a post battle analysis. So battle number 1, it's revealed that yeah, his 2 carries at the backline is obviously the Graveborn side. So we got Cecile correct. Then there's a Viperion, so he's trying to slow me down while allowing the Cecile to summon faster. So pretty good strategy there, I would say. I predicted it, but I think my units weren't the best to answer for it, unfortunately. So here, I think I'm probably losing the first match because Viperion plus CC is actually a pretty scary duo. It's featured in my CCR team setup. It's really very scary, even with the current Wilders dominating the meta. So I lost the very first match, unfortunately. Pretty good strategy there. Okay, so we go into the second battle. So this one, I have a good grasp that I'll win this because I'm more control-centric. So I'm filling up my morale boost bar faster, as you guys can see. So I'm getting the additional stats boost from morale boost. So from here, my units start wrecking ball and then I just win from there really quickly. Okay, so third match will be the decider whether or not I win. So right here, I think my goal is to just keep OD alive for as long as possible. So OD will just keep on throwing ultimate. And because I'm running a Mauler carry, I should do pretty well against the Wilder supports, namely Danny as well as Hewin. So yeah, over here, everybody died pretty quickly, unfortunately for him. So I won pretty fast. Okay, so this is a 2 out of 3 victory. And over here, we do a rank swap with this guy. Okay, so we do a post-battle analysis. So after a battle, right, if you want to sort of be a better Supreme Arena player, looking at the offenses and optimizing your teams moving forward is quite important, because attacking efficiently is more important than defending in most cases, because when you attack somebody and you manage to win, you will do the rank swap. So that's actually more important for you to achieve a higher rank. So for here, right, if you take a look at this, okay, first team, like I mentioned, CCR as well as Viperion is pretty high tier and pretty good strategy powered by the Rowan battery. So overall, I think my team is probably not the best. I probably could do better if I fielded more Wilders against him. And then for the second team, because most of my Wilders is in the second team, so I'm able to win more easily because basically my team is fit to the morale boost condition over there. Then for third team, like I mentioned, I think I probably counter him pretty hard because as long as my OD and Reese is not taken down, they'll probably wreak havoc to his back lines, and that's pretty much what they did. So yeah, that's for the offensive side of things. Lastly, I'm going to go into my defenses and talk about my defenses idea and how I abuse the different conditions to my benefit. So the first map just now, there was a question mark tile. So over here, to be really honest, if I'm attacking you multiple times, the question mark tile doesn't serve its purpose of hiding information. I think what the question mark tile should be used for, or the hidden tile should be used for, is more for hiding positioning, because hiding positioning is good against a few types of units. Number one, assassins. Number two, really good against Rainer as well. So your opponent cannot switch out the most vulnerable unit in your comp or the most important unit in your comp to sort of wreck your team from there. So that's where the hidden tile is really good. So for here, I'm running the light barrel with Hewin support. So this is, I'll say, like a store team variant. I think after a few testing, it's probably not light heal spell. Either using Starshot spell or Cascade spell will be better, but I'll wait until Cascade spell is higher level to use it. So for now, I'll just be using Light Heal spell because it offers the most defensive stat and it fits into the store team idea the most. So I'm running Merrily because Merrily is a secondary DPS with the highest stats, so she probably still does her job really well, even though she's not of the store type of unit. So second team, I'm running full control. So this is for the Raging Duo Iron Hoof buff. And then we have the third team, which is the Mauler team. So like I mentioned, usually your defensive team will also be your strongest units, right? So these are the units I use for offense, and these are the units I use on defense as well. So playing around with whatever units you have will be important in terms of what are the defensive results you want to achieve. So that's it for Supreme Arena. Just some tips and tricks for you guys. It gets pretty sweaty up there, by the way. So Supreme Arena is not for the faint of heart, but hopefully this guide is helpful in improving your Supreme Arena game on the basic level. Thank you very much for watching. Do remember to like and subscribe to see more. I'll see you guys again in my next video. Bye guys.